On a cold winter evening in New York City, in the heart of the city's art district, a young, starving painter named Daniel Foster sat hunched over his easel in a small, dimly lit cafe, his fingers trembling as he worked on his latest piece. The smell of freshly brewed coffee and pastries filled the air, but it did little to comfort him. His stomach growled, a reminder of the hunger he had grown used to, a hunger that gnawed at him day and night. His paintings, though full of passion and emotion, were yet to be noticed by the world. Most days, he barely scraped together enough money to buy his next meal, and his rent was long overdue. He was running out of time, out of hope, but not out of dreams. As Daniel carefully blended his paints, his eyes filled with a quiet determination. He knew this piece, his latest creation, would be his breakthrough, a masterpiece that would capture the attention of the art world, he was sure of it. But for now it sat on his canvas, unfinished, a symbol of the dream that still eluded him. It was then that the door to the cafe swung open, a gust of cold wind cutting through the warm air. A tall, well-dressed man entered, his expensive suit and polished shoes making him stand out in the small, modest cafe. He was William Hunt, a wealthy businessman and art collector who owned half of Manhattan, or so the rumors went. He was known for his extravagant lifestyle and his private collection of fine art, an art collector who could buy anything he wanted, and often did. As he walked past Daniel's table, his eyes casually fell upon the painting Daniel was working on. He stopped, raising an eyebrow, clearly intrigued but also amused. He took a step closer, glancing at the unfinished canvas, and then back at Daniel, who was nervously trying to hide his anxiety. William's lips curled into a smug smile. "That's ambitious," William said with a chuckle, his tone dripping with condescension. "Let me guess, you're not getting much for this, are you?" he asked, clearly not expecting an answer, already certain of the response. Daniel, who had heard such mockery before, didn't flinch. Instead, he met William's gaze, his eyes filled with quiet resolve. "No," he replied softly, "not yet. But one day, this will be in the best galleries." William laughed loudly, a laugh that echoed through the cafe, drawing the attention of nearby patrons. "Sure, kid, keep dreaming," he said, as he patted Daniel on the shoulder in a patronizing manner. "Good luck with that." And with that, William turned and walked out of the cafe, leaving Daniel staring at the door, his words hanging in the air. The laughter of the wealthy businessman was like a slap to the face, but it also sparked something within Daniel, a fire that would burn within him for years to come. He vowed to prove William wrong. The next few years were the toughest Daniel had ever faced. With his painting barely selling, he struggled to make ends meet. He took up odd jobs here and there, working as a barista, a waiter, even painting murals in local businesses to pay the bills. But through it all, Daniel never gave up on his dream. He continued to paint, pouring his heart and soul into each brushstroke, determined that one day someone would see the value in his work. He didn't know when or how, but he knew that his art had the power to change his life. Then, one fateful day, Daniel's breakthrough came. A wealthy art collector, impressed by the raw emotion and depth of his work, decided to purchase several of his pieces. The sale was the first step toward recognition, and slowly but surely, Daniel's paintings began to gain attention. His name started to circulate among art critics, and he was invited to showcase his work at a few local galleries. It wasn't long before his paintings were displayed in galleries across the country, and soon, international collectors began reaching out to purchase his work. Daniel's life was changing, but he never forgot the words William Hunt had said to him that day in the cafe. Those words fueled him, pushed him forward, and made every victory sweeter. 5 years passed. Daniel's reputation as an artist grew, and his paintings became highly sought after. He could now afford a small studio apartment in the city, and his art sold for tens of thousands of dollars. But despite his success, he always remembered the man who had mocked him. William Hunt had dismissed him as just another starving artist, but now Daniel's paintings were being exhibited in some of the most prestigious galleries in the world. Still, there was one thing he had always wanted: a chance to show William that his dream wasn't as foolish as it had seemed. One day, Daniel received an unexpected invitation. It was from none other than William Hunt himself. The invitation was to a gala being held at William's mansion, an exclusive event attended by the city's elite. Daniel's heart raced as he read the invitation. He couldn't believe it. William, the man who had laughed at him, was inviting him to his home. Daniel wasn't sure what to expect, but he knew this was his chance. He could finally confront the man who had doubted him, and perhaps, in some way, show him that he had been wrong all along. The night of the gala arrived, and Daniel entered the grand mansion, his heart pounding in his chest. The opulence of the place took his breath away. The towering ceilings, the grand chandeliers, the polished marble floors. The mansion was a reflection of William's wealth and status, a place where only the most powerful and influential people in the city gathered. As Daniel walked through the mansion, he couldn't help but be awed by the art displayed on the walls. There were masterpieces from famous artists, paintings worth millions, all hanging in carefully curated rooms. But then, something caught his eye. In a private gallery, away from the main gathering, was a single painting. The light from the chandeliers above shone on the canvas, making the colors come alive. It was Daniel's painting, the very same one William had once mocked in the cafe. It was framed, displayed in the center of the room, and surrounded by the finest art the world had to offer. Daniel couldn't believe it. The painting he had worked so hard on, the one that had once been dismissed as a dream, was now hanging in one of the most luxurious mansions in New York City. As Daniel stood there, staring at the painting, William appeared beside him, a glass of champagne in hand. "I see you're admiring the piece," William said with a knowing smile. "It's one of my first acquisitions. I knew it was special back then." Daniel turned to him, a quiet smile on his face. "You were right about one thing. It was special. I knew it all along." William chuckled, unaware of the depth of Daniel's words. "I never imagined it would become this successful," William admitted, his tone sincere, but still laced with the arrogance that had once defined him. Daniel paused, looking at the painting one last time, and then replied softly, "Neither did I. But sometimes dreams are worth the wait." William looked at him, still unsure of the significance of Daniel's words, but there was a glimmer of respect in his eyes. Daniel had done it. He had taken the rejection, the laughter, and the doubt, and turned it into success. His dream had come true, not in the way he had imagined, but in a way that was even more powerful. As the night went on, Daniel realized that his journey was never just about proving William wrong. It was about proving to himself that his dreams were worth chasing, no matter how impossible they seemed. He had faced years of struggle, rejection, and hardship, but he had never given up, and in the end, that was what mattered. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that dreams do come true. Keep believing in yourself, no matter what anyone else says, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories of perseverance, success, and triumph.